Hey, hi guys, this is Rohan Shetty here. So I wanted to try and automate the OCI or the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure instance capabilities using Terraform script. So OCI instance capabilities as such, how to create an instance configuration, then an instance pool out of it, and then the auto scaling configuration. So these you can definitely do it via console, but in case you want to automate it using scripts like Terraform. So how would you achieve it? So I have written certain test scripts and I'll try it using the use case. But before that, let me give you a quick overview on what are the steps involved in doing so. So as a first step, you need a running instance with the required instance configurations that you want an instance to run with. Then you create an instance configuration of it. So this instance configuration is basically a instance template which will consist of all the configuration parameters that are required to launch your instance. So once you have that in place, then at the second step, you create an instance pool. So this instance pool will consist of similar instances or VMs which will be launched using this instance template that you created. Okay. Now, once we have instance pool in place, then as a third step, you will have your auto scaling group configuration. So auto scaling configuration is basically uh, having certain scaling rules that will help you to scale in and scale out your instances within the instance pool. So for example, you will say that you need a minimum instance of 2 and maximum instance of 4. So that parameter, once you set that, then you set up a scaling rule. Now there are two types of scaling rule. One is schedule based and other is metric based. So the schedule based is basically time based, that you set a time period, that within that time period you need the instances to scale out up to your maximum number of scale, that is 4. And in this case, and you can once that time period is done, you scale into minimum number of nodes, that is 2. Similarly, you can do it at a metric base, or that is the threshold base. So you set a CPU or memory threshold that if for example 70%, so if the CPU or memory utilization goes beyond 70%, then you need to scale out to 4 instances or 3 instances, whatever your maximum number of instances are. And then if once the threshold goes down, then it will be scaled in to your minimum number of instances. Now there is a cooling period of 5 minutes or 300 seconds, I use. Okay, that's one point to be noted here. So now with that, let me show you the sample architecture of what I'm trying to do over here. So I already have a public load balancer created. Now with the help of Terraform, I'll create an instance configuration, then an instance pool, and then auto scaling, and then I launch the instances using these configurations, and it will be attached to the load balancers backend. Okay. Consider this as my primary deployment or a blue deployment. Now, let's say in a real life scenario, I have done this. Now I want to upgrade or update the version of application that is running within these instances, right? So what I'll do is, as a next step, I'll update the instances, my primary instance from which I created the instance configuration. Then I'll create a new instance configuration from it, and then an instance pool, new instance pool, and an instance, auto scaling configuration for that instance pool. And then I launch it and I'll attach it to the same load balancer. So once this happens and I hit the load balancer, I should get 2 versions, blue and green. Okay, and then I'll destroy old version, that is the blue instances that I have. So at the end, I'll get only the new version of the instances attached to the load balancer. All right, so let's get started.